myself throughout this presentation. I hope I can transmit my passion to you about logotherapy. Let me share my screen. So I'm going to talk about what we have accomplished fighting with youth unemployment. I would like to start with sorry, I forgot. It's recording, okay. So I would like to start with a heartfelt tribute to Robert Barnes and a sincere thanks to Alexander Batyani, Cynthia Wimberly, Irmeli Sijoli, Willem Maas, and to my wife Neslihan, because they all enabled me to propagate the wisdom of Viktor Frankl in my country. Within the umbrella of Viktor Frankl Enstitüsü Türkiye, more than 150 people from different occupations encountered with Frankl's existential analysis and logotherapy and acquired accredited certification. We established another body titled as Meaningful Living Movement, in Turkish bir Anlamlı Yaşam Hareketi, mainly to develop social impact projects based on the principles of logotherapy. As a group of 12 people from this movement, including myself, we came together to contribute to the efforts of fighting with youth unemployment and developed a project titled Resilient Career Development Intervention Program. The 21st century came with huge problems: environmental issues, economic and financial crisis, regional clashes, mass migration, income inequalities, pandemic, technological disruption. And in my country, there are more than 4 million refugees, according to the official reports. All these makes careers more dynamic and require employees to keep up with ever-increasing change in job and labor market. Famous historian Noah Harari in Davos 2020 in Economic Forum asserted that automation and artificial intelligence will eliminate millions of jobs. So young people have impacted most from these happenings, and especially in my country. Youth unemployment has become one of the biggest social problems of our time. This is the most recent OECD report. You can see that not only my country, but most of the European countries, including France, Sweden, Italy, Spain, Greece, at the very edge of this chart. We all know that Viktor Frankl had a considerable amount of experience on unemployed people. I'd like to quote from Man's Search for Meaning. 50 years ago, I published a study devoted to a specific type of depression. I had diagnosed in cases of young patients suffering from what I called unemployment neurosis. And I could show that this neurosis really originates in a twofold erroneous identification. Being jobless was equated with being useless, and being useless was equated with having a meaningless life. We titled our program Logo Resilience Career Development Intervention Program. This is a program aiming to increase the career competencies of the participants under all circumstances. Here, JOBS Career Competency Model was modified based on the principles and techniques of logotherapy, where JOBS Career Competency Model was developed in Michigan Preservation Research Center as a preventive intervention for recently unemployed job seekers back in 1989. The main goal of our program is to improve career competencies and skills of individuals under all circumstances in the fight of unemployment, specifically youth unemployment. And we set our objectives as make job seekers aware of their future hopes and deepest motivations, increase their skills in utilizing and expanding their networks as a social support, enable them set goals, do planning, take action, increase their out-of-the-box creative thinking abilities, and finally increase their resilience in the face of difficult conditions and hitting the wall. The impact of the intervention measured before and after the intervention. The assessments we used are, first we used career competency development assessment, and then career-related resilience assessment with the authors disclosed here. The intervention program is comprised of 12 weeks. It takes 12 weeks of time, 5 sessions, and each session is a half a day activity, and there will be 2 individual coaching sessions and final group coaching activity was also planned. In sessions, active learning methods such as brainstorming, social modeling, role-playing are applied in a socially supportive environment. Homework assignments are given. The main objective of the individual coaching sessions are to ensure that participants understood the discussed material and complete their homeworks, which are the main outcome and deliverables of this program. By the way, let me emphasize that all the coaches are academic associate in logotherapy certificate acquirers. Let me explain the model first. The intervention model has an inside-out approach. At the very core, what really motivates us? What is spiritual existence? Who am I and whom shall I become? The importance of values and meaning fulfillment are the main themes of this session. Character strengths and passion is our second layer. Then attitude modulation, and how to work with thoughts and feelings takes place in the third layer. And finally, improving social support, becoming more open, action-oriented, and flexible is addressed at the outer resources. The main purpose of this model is for participants to find their authentic answers to the following questions. Who am I and what am I good at? My passion, my future. How to be a successful optimist. How to work with my feelings, facing fear. How can I improve out-of-the-box thinking? How can I present myself? How can I improve my network as a social support? And how can I be more purpose and action oriented, open and be flexible? I'd like to provide a detailed information about this intervention program through a case history. Under a strong cooperation with a well-known NGO in my country, named in English literal translation is Colored Campus, Frankl Campus, we run this with a group of 17 unemployed university graduates coming from different social stratas. We started this program December 2020. Before giving a start to this program, we requested each participant to commit that they will be present on each session, actively participate, and most importantly, do their homework. This was an official written commitment. Initially, before the program gets started, we requested them to fill up these three things. First, we want them to do the career skills assessment, and then resilience assessment, and finally, we want them to fill up the VIA character strength survey test. I would like to emphasize that the VIA character strength test, which is formerly known as Values in Action Inventory, our participants were really benefited from this. I would like to emphasize that. So, how we started in our initial session in first week. Our initial session starts with self-discovery. Principles of logotherapy in the form of logo education were the main content of this session. Questions like, what's being human? What are the attributes of humanness of human were discussed. Robert Hutzel's and Eggert's The Workbook to Increase Your Meaningful and Purposeful Goals, in short, MPG, was utilized mainly for participants to discover their value hierarchies. First outcome, or let me say deliverable, was for the participants to establish their emblem, personal emblem. This emblem is used to record their authentic answers to the following questions. Who am I? What are my values? What are my strengths? What is my passion? So we specifically used the MPG for the participants to get aware and clarify their value hierarchies, and the VIA character strength test results to get aware of their character strengths. In the second week, in the second session, each participant was challenged existentially by discovering their answers for the following questions. Do your current career ideals match with your values and your character strengths? In the industry that interests you, how can you utilize your values and character strengths? Sorry, just a moment. There is a... So I will mute all.
Nosso povo lá não...
Um, and then in the industry that interests you, how can you utilize your values and character strengths? And finally, which roles and responsibilities match with your values and character strengths? Then, the participants were invited to step in a figurative time machine to discover their dream job. This is a phenomenological exercise. We told them to visualize themselves doing their ideal job, just to visualize, and then ask, when is this time? Where are you? And then secondly, after getting the answer, what are you doing in your ideal job? And how are you doing this? With whom you're doing this? And then, after getting these answers, climbing the stairs as why you're doing this. And finally, we ask who you really are doing this. This exercise really let them get aware of whom they are and whom they would like to become. And so, in a way, they could conceive deeply what their goal is. So then we want them to realize this visualization, to create their action plans, breaking down to a single task. So we want them to accomplish their short-term, mid-term, and long-term planning. Then in the third week, we did the first personal coaching session. And in the first personal coaching session, each person has assigned a coach. And let me repeat, all the coaches have academic, associate in logotherapy certified coaches. And the main objective of this personal coaching is helping participants to generate their mainly personal emblem and their action plan. Of course, we want them, while creating this, we want them to utilize what they have done in the via strength test and in the MPG and in the visualization experience. So we want them to really reflect the results of this while creating these two outcomes. And if they had difficulty doing these, as coaches, we let them repeat this, because it is really important for the participant to really get the awareness and then reflecting this awareness into these documents. Let me give you a real example, although it is in Turkish. One of our participants who had a cerebral palsy disability, and she lost her father recently and living with her mother. They were financially in a very serious condition, and she is jobless. Her answer to who am I was, I am a phoenix, the bird rising from the ashes with renewed body. So we thought we are on the right track. One thing, and the second deliverable is her action plan. What we have, all of us as coaches, what we experience is all these young people have difficulty in breaking up their goals into an action plan and breaking down it to tasks. That's what we have learned much from this experience. Then on week 4, the third session took place, and on this session, networking was the central topic. Participants were given guidelines to utilize and expand their professional network, and they were asked to brainstorm about the importance of networking and possibilities to expand their professional networks. The main deliverable or outcome of this session was to enrich their action plans by taking into consideration the tasks to utilize and enhance their professional networks. And we want them to map, cross-reference each task to their values. The main reason behind this exercise is to create a motivational force while tackling with each and every task. With this, they fully completed the Hutzel's MPG exercise. In week 5, the fourth session took place, and in this session, self-profiling, work explorations were addressed. Participants were asked about their values, skills, and ways in which they exhibit these competencies to significant to others. And they were asked to present themselves convincingly as possible and generate their elevator speech and record it. Some of the out of the box solutions were also discussed, such as instead of looking for vacancies, how about creating jobs? Then in the second personal coaching period, participants were supported by all means to produce the deliverables that I have already told, and enriching their action plans, how they are going to utilize their professional networks and be more flexible, open, and mapping them or cross-referencing them to their values. This is one deliverable, and the second deliverable was a recorded elevator speech. How are they communicate their skills and their competencies convincingly to others. In week 7, our most important, for me, the most important session is to talk about more resilience. We talk about Frankl's tragic optimism and the 2 logotherapy techniques, paradoxical intention and de-reflection, were introduced. Let me articulate how we accomplished this. First, we asked the group. We see a lot of people in pain. Some are facing severe grief and still can't function. Others break down at the smallest problem. Why this is so? What is the key, we asked. We want them to discuss this. And we then introduced Nietzsche's famous saying, "Who has a why to live can bear almost anyhow," and would like them to think from their lives, to find examples. In a way, we would like them to do a phenomenological experience on this. Then we introduce Frankl's Copernican twist by reading few paragraphs from the Man's Search for Meaning, and let them share their examples from their own experiences. Then one of our main topic was life is a tragic optimism, and I believe this is one of the cardinal concepts of logotherapy. When we take the optimistic trait, which contains the arguments for an optimistic outlook and attitude, symbolized in terms of a personal unconditional yes to life and supported by faith and hope. And we all know the tragic trait, suffering, guilt, and death. Tragic trait, it is not so much necessary pulling us down, however, it keeps us with both feet on the solid ground. There are reasons to live for, and there are problems one cannot avoid. If we take a sober perspective on life, we'll arrive at a tragic optimism, says Dr. Wilhelm Maass. Dr. Maass developed a very effective technique called Nominal Socratic Dialogue. I strongly advise you to attend Dr. Maass's keynote speech on this Saturday, titled Existential Analysis, the Precondition for Effective Psychotherapeutic Help, where he will articulate on these, including the technique Nominal Socratic Dialogue. Dr. Maass represents the tragic optimism by a David star. At the top, the optimistic trait, and at the bottom, the tragic trait. And where the unconditional yes to life is a synonym of energy, and self-distancing is a synonym of faith, and self-transcendence is a synonym of hope. And guilt is representing what we owe to life, and suffering is what we have to invest bodily and psychologically, and that is representing transcendence. Dr. Maass claims that a client's mission statement comes from these two traits. It is the expression of how and to what the person is committed to life. Is it well balanced with the individualized synonym of love at the top? So are these polarities create an existential dialect? Guilt and hope, faith and suffering, and love and death. And We applied this in the group to few participants, and they were amazed. And in the question and answer part, if time allows, I wanted to share I can share an example, but William Mouse is going to present it thoroughly on the Saturday. Then we conducted on how to work with feelings. The content we used was mostly from Alex Patagos and Elaine Dundon's The Prisoners of Our Thoughts. Initially, we let them experience if they were facing a chaotic, challenging situation, what to do, and we recommended listing 10 positive things that could result from this. And we did this experience by with the extreme case. We said in couple of days, for sure, you'll be losing your life. You're going to die. Please come up with 10 positive things that could result from this. And we laughed a lot, and it's really people see that even in the worst conditions, there can be ways either to be accomplished or saying yes, that I did something what I should have done. And then we introduced paradoxical intention. This is very important because we want them to come over wrong passivity. So in unemployment, we can see that there is a huge wrong passive behavior. So that's why this is very important. And then we introduced the reflection for them to break the hyperintention and hyperreflection circle. We finalized this program with a graduation ceremony. We provided certificates to each and every participant. Then we want them to retake the assessments, and after 8 weeks we have measured for career skills 20% increase, and in their resilience 12% increase or improvement have been measured. And then, although the program have been completed, but as coaches, we shouldn't stop, because there will be a lots of coaching demands. For this purpose, we utilize a guideline for coaching, and for this we get Richard Close's paper as a reference, and from there we come up with these. De-reflect client from worthless feelings by identifying what life is asking for him. De-reflect client from the hyper-reflection on powerless by developing an action plan. Modulate attitude about hopeless future and self-blame for job loss by reframing client as superior of strokes of fate. And modulate attitude regarding his intrinsic versus conditional worth. My final words are, we concluded this program twice, and this December we are going to repeat this with the same NGO. So we truly believe that we contribute on this issue, and we are looking ways to get integrated with other stakeholders like universities, social entrepreneurs, vocational courses and institutions, voluntary organizations, HR recruitment companies, local authorities and countries. So we believe this is at least a genuine trial of logotherapy in action. Thank you for listening to me. And if you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them.
Memduh, I wanted to say hello. It's Dalia from Lebanon.
Hello.
Though we live in the same part of the world, almost in the Middle East, so I didn't have the chance yet to meet you in person. I want to thank you for this wonderful presentation. In fact, I work a lot in logotherapy in the corporate world, in the business world, with youth empowerment too. I use mainly like Hudzel, the MPGs all over 8 weeks almost, with integration with different things. But I liked a lot what you have done with time machine visualization. That I see that it's a very powerful tool, especially young people at this age. They like the interactive, practical things, and it's insightful. So thank you for sharing. The whole process is amazing, but this specific thing, it grabbed a lot my attention. So thank you for sharing it with us.
I will really emphasize Dr. Maas's nominal Socratic dialogue. It is an it is a very efficient and effective tool. So I strongly advise you to participate on Saturday.
I will surely will.
Thank you.
Memduh, I'd like to ask a question if I can.
Sure.
First of all, let me say it's just a wonderful presentation. I'm always amazed at these conferences how well people present in a language that is often their second, third, or fourth language. I'm very envious of that, and you just did a great job. And you're doing just great work, and I loved your emphasis on resilience. As you know, in America, we have a lot of problems with violence. And I wonder if you've ever correlated your program to a decrease in violence. Have you ever used, for example, populations where they have a history of incarceration or something like that?
Unfortunately, we didn't tackle with violence, and I believe it is a bit more. It's a bit tougher issue. But we didn't. Most of them were depressed because they completed the university with high grades. These are very intellectual people, but they couldn't find jobs. So their main behavior was a bit depression, not aggression.
Well, maybe perhaps this is something you'll do in the future.
Yes, definitely. And I believe it is not an easy job. I'm sure. I thought.
You're right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Memduh.
Any questions, please?
I'd like to know what kind of results you got from this thing after you got this 90 days.
Yes.
Did they get employed? What happened?
Sorry, I couldn't really get your question, Irmeli.
When you did this
Mm-hmm.
process with those people, did they get any work, or what kind of results did you get?
Yes. Actually, we did a group session after 6 months. We did it actually very recently at the beginning of October, and I could say 1/3 have acquired jobs. And beyond that, they are in a much better situation because most of them are not depressed. Most of them didn't knock on our door, and nearly 80% were in the group coaching session after 6 months. So this is all I could say, but 1/3 had found jobs that they would like to work.
That's a great result.
Yeah, I mean, it is really not easy to measure these things, and although I didn't bring it here, we had a song type of thing. So we want that thing to really resonate in their mind. That was our success factor. So we said, are you still hearing that melody in your mind? That's what we asked, for example, in the last group coaching, and all of them said yes. So we consider this, we really take this more seriously than, with 17 people, the statistics. I don't think it doesn't give us a very significant result.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mehmet, this is Bernadette. I don't know if you remember me.
Of course, very well.
I'm so glad to have joined your session, and yes, you are evolving extremely, and I've always enjoyed your presentations over the last year.
Thank you.
Also, I'm not a therapist, or I haven't advanced in logotherapy.
Neither do I.
I retired from my clinical healthcare work just October 1st, so I hope to immerse more in this area. But I have a lay question, not a logotherapist, but just I was thinking of my own personal experience when I'm very young. I remember taking jobs and opportunities, and this is before I graduated from college. And what I learned in retrospect, not even retrospect, but as I grew as an adult, is all the varied experiences offered, even if they weren't the dream job or what you wanted to do. It was some of these reasons were because I needed to make money, all of these practical things, and not about the dream job. But what I garnered is trying many things to help determine who I was. So I wanted to ask if that was introduced here. And the second thing is the placements that were made as a result of this, did they have and did this provide them the insight that this might not yet be your dream job, but and how to that job that they obtained after this process, that this may not be the dream job, but may evolve or may lead to other things. Is that all incorporated in this therapy?
Yes, absolutely, because we can't know it before a failed trial. So we were always pushing them, and generally, and if you're a good student, you thought you will be either a CEO or vice president when you finish the school. So they have to learn what is life. So the call is coming from life. So in personal coachings, we were very careful what we are hearing. So we were trying to really make them get aware that what life is expecting from you. At least we got very they thank us for this as well. So we were really very pleased what we heard in this last group coaching session that we conducted 6 months later. For definitely yes.
Sounds like you had you were working with, like I said, like was mentioned before, individuals that have performed well, scholarly, and it appears as though must have a great degree of emotional intelligence for their age.
Because we were working with the NGO, and this NGO was trying to find students from all around the country with different ethnical or ethnical or belief groups. So these are very bright students, first of all, but most of them are coming from very poor families. So they are not coming from wealthy environment. So we worked with such a diverse people, but working with young people are much easier. So they are very flexible, and we really stress on, instead of looking for vacancies, why not creating jobs? Because now the world is going into that direction as well.
Yes.
We explored that one as well, because we have 12 people, and not only myself provided this. We have HR specialists as well. So this was a multidisciplinary program. At the core, logotherapy was there, but it's not only with logotherapy. So I'm really very satisfied.
Yes, it sounds excellent and fully integrated and ready to use in other places. Yes.
Yes.
Like turnkey almost. Yes.
And the thing we are using to earn money with this for the companies, for their career plannings. So this can be geared for career planning of big corporations as well. So there it can be we can earn our life from there.
Yes.
But the main idea is to really fight with the unemployed, and most of the participants were mothers, so they were frustrated with their kids as well. That was the motivation at the back.
Very good. Excellent. Thank you. And good to see you.
Thank you. Good to see you. And you and Stephen are always in my thoughts.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Memduh, Neil here.
Hello, Neil.
Thank you. Thank you for the excellent presentation. This is the first one I'm attending in this virtual conference, and it's showing that this is very, very effective. And I appreciate the wonderful talk that you gave, and my interactions with younger people will be improved, but all the best.
Thank you so much, Neil. And hope to collaborate with you. With Neil, Neil and Willow gave us a very good logotherapy and music presentation to this group, to Meaningful Living movement group, and we were delighted with that.
Good afternoon. My name is Michael. Do you have a, I guess you would say like a manual or a guide that's been put together? The reason why I ask, as somebody from the United States, I think it would be nice if there was some sort of a manual to apply, because I definitely see in like college and career advisement at the high school level where this could definitely have a lot of implications and impact.
The thing is, we developed this. I mean, this is a horizontal integration. At the one end, there is a well-structured JOBS that Michigan Research Center conducted. What we did is to remodel it with the philosophy and the techniques of logotherapy, and further we add here and there. So there are 3 authors. So this will be very recently published, and I will definitely share you the procedures and the paper.
Thank you so much.
Of course. You're welcome. Are there any further questions or comments or objections? If not, I think we can complete the session. And before you close, let me get a picture of it. Thank you. So,
Great. You, Mehmet. Take care.
Take care.
Thank you, Memduh.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
And yeah, Memduh, we will thank you very
We
much.
will be in touch, mate.
We'll be in touch, and we will discuss this topic because
Okay. You're the philosopher.
and I'm also interested in this manual or in the cooperation now, so we can
Yeah,
to bring it to
definitely.
Germany. Okay.
Definitely. Take care.
Hope we will meet once again. Maybe in Turkey, or you come to Germany.
Yeah.
Come on.
Both.
Okay.
Sure.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Dear Margarita, thank you so much for your presence.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Bye-bye.
much. Bye-bye.